So did anybody watch the Gary Brecka and Grant Cardone mediation meeting about 10X Health? So the first time I heard about this issue with 10X Health was on Value Entertainment on YouTube. And when I saw the headline come up on my YouTube, so the first time I saw this whole issue was on Value Entertainment. And I always had a feeling about Grant Cardone, but I couldn't really put my finger on it. He kind of reminds me of that car salesman that's trying to sell you that warranty that you can never use, and he just keeps pushing until you say yes, and he tries to make you feel stupid for saying no, and you know that you're right, but he keeps bullying you into buying that damn warranty. That is Grant. So anyways, Gary Brecka, he said a few things in that interview. I was literally, my mouth was wide open like, what the heck is going on? Because everyone says this stuff about Grant, but no one has some valid freaking proof on it. And so anyway, so these are a few things that he said during that interview. Check it out because I'm telling you, it's crazy. So the first thing is that Grant Cardone ended up signing a contract with Gary when he first started. And I guess there was some percentages of how much that he was going to make from from partnering with Gary. But there was something in the contract that said that all everything that he profited had to get reinvested into Cardone Venture. So he said he got no cash, no coin from this at all. Everything was reinvested. Yeah, crazy. Okay, so, and then the second thing, so the next thing is, so everybody, they believed in 10X Health because Gary is a biologist. And when he speaks all this nerdy jargon, and you're just like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He used to work for an insurance company, so he knows what he is talking about. So I purchased the gene test, and we got it back. And so pretty much the gene shows you where your breaks are. So if you're having issues, like with all different types of issues like anxiety, gut issues, it shows you where your gene breaks are. And then when you get your gene breaks, you can purchase a supplement to help you in your gene breaks so that your body is able to process and digest properly and function properly. So obviously it's important, right? You would think that it's very important to make sure that your actual DNA is getting handled properly. Also, you want to make sure that it's like a legitimate lab source, and the supplements are legitimate source supplements as well, right? Because I mean, you're spending hundreds of dollars on the gene test, and then you're paying monthly subscription for your supplements, so that's expensive too. So Gary said that the DNA samples were getting held in refrigerators for long periods of time, not getting processed on time, just sitting there and not getting processed. These supplements are getting made they were getting made within the United States, but then once Grant did it, obviously Grant's greedy, so Grant wanted to try to spread out the dollar as much as he possibly can and go, and he outsourced the lab to another country outside the United States. And so everything's getting sent out of the US, getting held in customs, and then I guess it gets sent back to the other country, and it's going and doing this back and forth thing. Okay, also the whatever's within the supplements are not the pure, he's spreading it or making it cheaper. So you're paying for this, right? Well, you're still having like that heartburn, indigestion issues because it's not the proper dosaging, because he's making it go way further because he's all about the dollar. This is crazy. Okay, this is crazy to me because when I saw it, I was like, okay, no one's really making a big hype about this. This is a big freaking deal. But I didn't want to say anything until I saw the mediation between Gary and Grant. And we gonna get there because that one is insane. So he's throwing out all this stuff. Now, mind you, Gary was going through lawsuits with Grant and Brandon. So they're suing each other. I think Grant's suing his kids, Gary's kids, Okay, and then I think his wife was actually the one on the lawsuits, like the one that's actually suing. So it's just like, it's nasty, it's messy, it's crazy. Now, if you are a Gary Brecka follower, because I follow Gary Brecka because he made several suggestions through free information, and everything worked for me. And he sold like these kind of like these superhuman packages for like thousands of dollars, but he said, hey, if you don't have that money, there's another way to still get the benefits and not spend the kind of money. So Gary's always promoted health, always promoted, people living their best life, and just, he worked for an insurance company, very greedy insurance company, and they were okay with people dying, and he would try to see, like, I guess he would have to calculate when people would die and things like that. So he would look at your labs, he would look at everything. It was crazy. And so he was very adamant about trying to get this to everybody, because they're like, this is so simple. It's simple changes that you can do that will change your life. You don't have to live in pain. You don't have to live like this. So that's why I believe Gary, because Gary's not a money guy. He's not in anything about money. So, anyways, 2 days ago, Grant does a meeting with Gary on YouTube, going over all these allegations. And he did this because I think Gary wanted his attention. He went on Joe Rogan. He went on that Value Entertainment podcast. He went on a few people's podcasts and was blowing Grant up. Now, I don't know why Grant would think that it would be okay, because this is the thing, people believe in Gary so much that they're willing to put money out there and spend their money on their health. They believe in him. I believe in him. And 10X is nothing without Gary. Gary is 10X. That's why it works so well. And they were, I guess, bringing in like $17 million a month off of this. So, when Gary blew him up, I know Grant was heated. Oh, he was heated. And not even that, when you're dealing with people with a lot of money like what Grant has, and I think Grant's associated with a lot of different things. I don't know what he's associated in, but I heard like he's part of Scientology. I've heard a whole bunch of stuff. But when you're connected to people with that kind of money, people kill for less money than that. And I think, because what we did is I was trying to get into my system last night to try to cancel my 10X service, and I couldn't cancel it. So I think people are going in there and canceling it, because if it got this bad, when it comes to health and when it comes to money, that should not be connected. That there should be a way that people can still live good lives and not have to do that. And Grant slithered his way into this deal and did exactly what Gary didn't want. And I think that he thought that, he wants to make money, he wants to make this thing, but he still wants to make it for people so that they can still live good lives. Now he's completely stripped the structure of what 10X is all about. What he wants people to live better lives. But anyway, so I'm going to do a second video pertaining to specifically the mediation between Gary and Grant and what went down, and it was crazy.